It's giving out of touch.
I'm bored, alright? Just bored.
We're all getting Kardashian fatigue.
It is so toxic. I just wish you didn't say that.
She is the worst out of the siblings.
Kim kicked me while I was down.
I'm not interested in your rainbow-colored Birkin.
You've nothing to relate to.
We're all blocking Kim Kardashian.
Kim is losing millions of followers.
She's just not interested anymore.
Kim has sold her soul to Hollywood.
It's probably even harder for us because a lot of people are doing nothing.
After 6 years of marriage, Kim Kardashian filed for divorce from Kanye West in February of 2021. This was the beginning of a breakup that would play out publicly over the next 15 months, with Kanye making multiple attempts to win Kim back, while Kim would use the time to antagonize Kanye. For example, in October of 2021, Kim Kardashian announced that she would be hosting an episode of Saturday Night Live. Upon hearing this, Kanye gifted her a $23,000 fur coat to celebrate her accomplishment. However, once the episode rolled around, Kim took the opportunity to kiss SNL cast member Pete Davidson on live TV. Rumors began spreading that the two were dating, and 4 months later, on Valentine's Day, they confirmed these rumors by going on a date to a pizza restaurant together. However, it wasn't just a regular pizza place, it was John and Vinny's, a restaurant that famously sells a Kanye-themed pizza called the Ham and Yeezy. Kim and Pete would post photos of them eating the Kanye-themed pizza on social media, and fans immediately noticed that Kim had worn the $23,000 fur coat that Kanye gifted her after she announced she was hosting SNL on her date with an SNL cast member to a pizza place that sells a Kanye-themed pizza. Kanye would actually defend Kim on social media by saying, "Don't have beef with Kim. I love my family, so stop that narrative. I'm not giving up on my family." However, Kim and Pete would continue to take shots at Kanye, with Pete famously getting the names of Kanye's kids tattooed on his neck, as well as sending Kanye photos of himself in bed with Kim. Following this, Kanye would take to Instagram and say, "I'm really concerned that Skeet will get my kid's mom hooked on drugs. He's in rehab every 2 months." However, after that statement, Kanye released a music video for his song titled Easy that depicts a clay version of Kanye West burying Pete Davidson and planting roses on his head. Pete would respond by being papped inside the gated community Kim Kardashian lives in, driving around in a golf cart with Kanye's kids sitting on his lap. Some fans speculate that Kim had paid paparazzi to take these photos in order to taunt Kanye, with some even theorizing that Kim's entire relationship with Pete Davidson was an attempt to have Kanye break down mentally so the Kardashian family could place him under a conservatorship. It's a little loose, but Kanye himself had shared screenshots of his personal trainer threatening to put him under one back in 2016, and the Kardashian family have links to Lou Taylor. Lou Taylor is the CEO of TriStar Entertainment and the woman who allegedly convinced Britney Spears' father to place Britney in a conservatorship. Lou served as Britney's business manager from as early as 2008, the same year Britney entered her conservatorship, and even gave Britney's father Jamie a $40,000 loan just days before he went to court to place Britney under the conservatorship. Britney has since directly accused Lou of being responsible for the loss of her freedom, saying in her 2023 memoir that Lou was, quote, "front and center during the implementation of the conservatorship that would later allow them to control and take over my career." However, Lou Taylor's name has a history of coming up when discussing conservatorships, with singer-songwriter Courtney Love even alleging that Lou tried to place herself in one, as well as Page Six alleging that Lou, quote, suggested Lindsay Lohan's mother should seek a conservatorship over Lindsay. To make matters more confusing, the Kar-Jenner family allegedly has a history of borrowing millions of dollars from Lou Taylor to fund their businesses and to cover their down payments on many properties, including a $48.7 million loan used to secure Kim Kardashian's $70.4 million Malibu mansion, and over $100 million in loans for Kylie and Khloe to buy houses, as well as kickstart various Kar-Jenner businesses such as Kylie Cosmetics, Kendall Jenner Inc., and Travis Scott's Cactus Jack Enterprises LLC. Some fans began criticizing Kim Kardashian after Kim publicly showed support for Britney Spears' 2023 memoir, a memoir that details Britney's negative experience in a conservatorship that allowed her father to control her finances for almost 13 years. And this allegedly happened after Lou Taylor successfully convinced Britney's father Jamie to do it, while allegedly loaning Jamie $40,000 just days before he signed the papers. The reason Kim was getting heat for this is because both Kim and the entire Kar-Jenner family have allegedly borrowed over $100 million from Lou Taylor's business, with some alleging that the money they received from her was money that had been taken away from Britney Spears during her conservatorship. This connection is what made fans speculate that Kim's relationship with Pete Davidson was an elaborate attempt to break Kanye down enough to place him in a conservatorship of his own, giving the Kardashian family access to his money. However, after Kanye West released the music video for Easy that featured a clay depiction of Pete Davidson, Pete would claim to be in trauma therapy due to Kanye's harassment. And that same month, Kim and Pete would go their separate ways, saying it was an amicable split and that the relationship had simply ran its course. Kim's entire 9-month relationship with Pete Davidson was all about Kanye. From their first date, where they ate a Kanye-themed pizza in a fur coat Kanye had gifted Kim 4 months prior, to hanging out with Kanye's kids, getting their names tattooed on Pete's neck, as well as sending Kanye photos of them in bed together. Kim has since reflected on her relationship with Pete, saying on an episode of The Kardashians that she regrets it, and that she jumped into the relationship too fast. Back in 2022, Kim Kardashian purchased a Gulfstream jet for $95 million. However, after receiving the jet, she reportedly outfitted the aircraft with custom modifications, including a cashmere interior and a second bathroom. These additions allegedly skyrocketed its reported value to an eye-watering $150 million. Kim's private jet, affectionately named Kim Air, has consistently come under scrutiny by fans for her gross display of wealth, as well as its negative environmental impact. According to myclimate.org's carbon emission tracker, in 2023, Kim Air was responsible for dumping 5,857,600 kilograms, or just under 13 million pounds of CO2 into the atmosphere across 165 flights, making her the second highest offender in the United States, only second to Travis Scott, and ahead of people like Elon Musk, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Bill Gates. To put it into perspective, the average person globally emits 8,000 pounds of CO2 each year, meaning Kim's flights alone emitted 1,625 years worth of expected CO2 emissions in just 1 year. To make matters worse, some of the 165 flights she took in 2023 were just 10 minutes long and happened as often as 5 times per day. According to flight trackers, she once flew from Nevada to California, back to Nevada, back to California, then to Arizona, just to return to California all in 1 day, across 3 hours and 48 minutes of flying. Fans couldn't help but notice the irony, considering her, quote, public commitment to environmental causes with her business ventures. For example, her brand Skims claims they, quote, only work with suppliers and vendors who we believe in and share a commitment to sustainability, accountability, and transparency. Skims also claimed that 10% of their Ultimate Nipple Bra proceeds would go to 1% for the planet, an organization dedicated to global environmental causes. Kim promoted this product by saying, "The sea levels are rising, the ice sheets are shrinking, and I'm not a scientist, but I do believe everyone can use their skill set to do their part. That's why I'm introducing a brand new bra with a built-in nipple, so no matter how hot it is, you'll always look cold." Fans found this to be in bad taste, considering her private jet pollutes the environment more in 1 year than most people will in their lifetime. Despite this, in the first 3 months of 2024, Kim had used her private jet 15 times for flights that lasted less than 40 minutes, with 8 of those flights being shorter than 15 minutes. However, these flights don't stop her from pretending to care about the environment on social media. For example, she's quick to show off the lack of plastic in her water fridge, where she only stores water in glass bottles and cardboard boxes. She was also happy to flex her wrapping paper-free Christmas, where she proudly used Skims fabric to wrap her gifts instead of one-time use paper. Kim's messaging is all over the place. She sells sustainable products, but then takes several vanity flights in one day just for fun. Then she brags about wrapping gifts with fabric instead of wrapping paper, before bragging about covering her 7,077 square foot home and 3 acres of land in fake snow for Christmas. Speaking of 3 acres of land, Kim was named as one of the largest wasters of water during the 2022 California drought.
The state of California is resorting to drastic measures tonight to combat its severe drought.
At a time when residents were 100% reliant on imported water from the Sierra Nevada mountains 400 miles away, and people were asked not to water their lawn or take long showers, Kim Kardashian used a staggering 232,000 gallons of water to make sure her lawn and garden looked pristine. To once again help put it into perspective, the average American uses about 90 gallons of water each day, and the average American household uses approximately 107,000 gallons each year. Kim Kardashian used more water herself during a drought than the average American household uses in an entire year. However, some people speculate that Kim Air is just another way for her to avoid paying taxes.
Did you guys know that Kim bought an $150 million jet to avoid taxes? Kim earns a reported $80 million a year, but because she is a deduction queen, she brings down her taxable income by writing off purchases as qualified business expenses, which is what she did with her jet. Because of this tax code, she just had to prove that she used the plane over 50% of the time for business for it to be a write-off, which she does. I mean, they filmed the Kardashians on the plane, and like, I'm sure she holds meetings in the air for Skims. And this tax code says that you can write off vehicles that weigh more than 6,000 pounds. And if you're wondering how big of a write-off Kim got for her plane, 100%. That's because she bought it in 2021 and was able to take advantage of bonus depreciation.
In 2019, Kim announced to the world via the cover of Vogue magazine that she would be pursuing a 4-year law apprenticeship. However, she was quick to reiterate that she wasn't going to law school and was instead reading the law. In California, a student isn't required to have an undergraduate degree in order to become a lawyer, which is convenient for Kim because she doesn't have one, but they are required to pass the baby bar exam. This baby bar exam would become a storyline on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and an integral part of Kim's public image for the next 3 years. Between a team of lawyers she hired as private tutors, 3 years of studying, and 4 attempts, she finally passed the baby bar in 2022, a test every first-year law student takes and must pass to continue their education. Despite a full law degree typically requiring 4 years of part-time study to complete, Kim felt the 3 years it took her to pass the baby bar was enough to start calling herself a lawyer. However, as she wasn't actually a lawyer, Kim opted for a true crime podcast instead. Kim Kardashian's The System premiered in 2022 and questioned the conviction of death row inmate Kevin Keith. In the first episode, Kim speaks directly to Kevin, saying, "I'm really hopeful for this podcast, just to get your story out there, because I think it's important for people to understand that our system is so f***ed up."
30-year-old Kevin Keith was arrested at his home in Crestline. He is charged with 3 counts of murder for allegedly killing 3 members of the Chapman family.
According to the case, back in 1994, 3 people were killed and 3 people were injured in a shooting at the Bucyrus Estate Apartments in Bucyrus, Ohio. Marichelle Chapman, her 4-year-old daughter Marche, and her aunt Linda Chapman were killed in the shooting, while Marichelle Chapman's boyfriend, Richard Warren, and her cousins, 6-year-old Juanita Reeves and 4-year-old Quinton Reeves, were wounded in the shooting. Several days after the murders took place, police began interviewing the victims, and Richard Warren, who was shot twice by the assailant, said that Linda had stepped outside to meet a masked man. When Richard asked his girlfriend, Marichelle, who the man was, she said it was Kevin. The masked man then entered the apartment, ordered everyone to lie on the ground, and then began shooting. Kevin Keith, the masked man in question, was Marichelle Chapman's ex-boyfriend and had recently been implicated in a large large drug bust due to Marichel's brother working as an informant. The Bucyrus Police Department and Crawford County prosecutors claimed that Kevin Keith carried out the shooting in retaliation for his arrest for his involvement in the drug ring, which had only resulted from the information received from his ex-girlfriend Marichel's brother, Rudel Chapman. In court, Kevin claimed he was 30 miles away from the shooting hanging out with his two girlfriends. However, Kevin's neighbors testified that around 8:45 p.m. they saw Kevin get into his girlfriend's car and drive away. A forensic analyst testified that a license plate imprint left in a snowbank at the crime scene matched the same car his neighbors saw him drive away in, and this placed Kevin at the crime scene at the same time the murders took place. While Juanita was still in the hospital recovering from her injuries at the time of the trial, she said she was positive Kevin Keith was the man who shot her. Following the trial, the jury found Kevin Keith guilty and sentenced him to death, starting decades of appeals. However, despite Kevin Keith's neighbor blowing up his alibi, forensic evidence placing him at the scene, a clear motive for the shooting, and 3 eyewitnesses claiming Kevin Keith shot them after murdering 3 people in front of them, Kim Kardashian alleges in her podcast that he is in fact innocent and a victim of racism, as the jury only consisted of white people. Kim Kardashian's The System quickly reached the #1 spot on Spotify's US podcast chart, beating out popular series like The Joe Rogan Experience and Meghan Markle's podcast, Markle's Archetypes. The overnight success of Kim's podcast had some people questioning the authenticity of the attention it was receiving, with some wondering if Kim had paid bots to boost her ratings on the chart. Juanita and Quentin Reeves, 2 of the survivors of the shooting, also put Kim on blast for not making any attempt to reach out to them and get their side of the story. They also accused her of, quote, twisting their testimony to better fit Kim's narrative. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Juanita and Quentin told reporters that, quote, she doesn't want to hear from us. She wants to get him out to make her look better. Although Kim hasn't released a second season of her podcast, she has continued to play lawyer online by supporting more convicts, such as Larry Hoover, the founder of the Chicago street gang, the Gangster Disciples, who is currently serving 6 life sentences for murder, extortion, and continuing to engage in a criminal enterprise, as well as other death row inmates like Rodney Reed. In 1996, 19-year-old Stacy Stites was found dead in the bushes behind a high school in Texas. Authorities determined that Stacy had been beaten, sodomized, and before being strangled to death with her belt and then set on fire sometime between 3 and 5 a.m. While police investigated Stacy Stites' husband as the possible killer, 19-year-old Linda Schluter called 911 after thwarting an attacker. Allegedly, Linda Schluter had agreed to give a man a ride after stopping at a market, but once they started driving, the man began to attack her while saying he would kill her if she failed to perform sexual acts upon him. Linda was able to escape the vehicle and run to a passing car, leading to the attacker running away. However, after police spoke to Linda and heard her description of the attacker, the police were quick to detain Rodney Reed, a man Linda would then pick out of a photo lineup. At the time, Rodney was already a suspect in Stacy's murder, as he was already being investigated for 5 other including one involving a 12-year-old girl with intellectual disabilities. However, with his latest victim surviving, investigators were able to retrieve Rodney's DNA samples from her vehicle, and after comparing them to 3 sperm sites found in Stacy's vagina and saliva found on her chest, Rodney Reed was officially charged with the murder of Stacy Stites. Rodney would maintain his innocence and claim in court that he didn't even know Stacy, but after he was confronted with DNA evidence, his story quickly changed and claimed they were having a secret affair. Despite multiple DNA matches placing Rodney's sperm and saliva on Stacy Stites' dead body, a surviving second victim who picked Rodney out of a police lineup, and investigators already considering Rodney a suspect in 5 other Kim Kardashian claimed that Rodney was innocent and his sentencing was another result of racism, as the jury only consisted of white people. However, Kim didn't stop there. She also claimed to have substantial evidence that would exonerate Rodney and implicate another person as the attacker. Kim Kardashian began advocating for Rodney's release publicly by tweeting at Governor Greg Abbott, and surprisingly, it worked. Rodney Reed's case began to receive coverage from major major news outlets, and Rodney was even interviewed on an episode of Dr. Phil, despite the crime taking place 24 years prior. As the media coverage surrounding the case continued to bubble, a petition to free Rodney reportedly garnered more than 3 million signatures, and in 2019, a Texas Court of Criminal Appeals indefinitely delayed Rodney's execution to review claims of Brady violations and false testimony. Kim Kardashian's attempt at becoming a lawyer and subsequent criminal activism makes sense. Her father was a lawyer, and the circle she runs in is full of talented, successful people. It's easy to imagine why Kim would want to be known for something other than just being Kim Kardashian. But if the goal was to receive public praise for freeing an innocent person, her decision to pick cases with strong DNA evidence, forensic evidence, and multiple eyewitnesses is bizarre, especially when her argument for why these people were wrongfully convicted boils down to the jury being racist. Rumors say that Kim's pursuit of a law degree is on the back burner. However, it's hard not to see the irony in her academic pursuit, as she would have to receive a positive moral character determination if she actually wanted to practice law. The moral character determination is an application that compiles many details of the applicant's life, which is then reviewed by a state bar staff to determine whether or not the applicant has good moral character, including qualities of honesty, fairness, trustworthiness, as well as respect and obedience to the law. Speaking of respect and obedience to the law, Kim allegedly has a long history of scamming people, dating as far back as 2006, when she stole over $120,000 from R&B singer Brandy's mother by using her credit card to make purchases at Kardashian family boutiques Dash and Smooch on clothes for herself. At the time, Kim was employed by Brandy's mother/manager, Sonia Norwood, to act as Brandy's stylist.
My best friend is Brandy. We'd always shop together, and one day she called me and was like, "Will you be my stylist?" And I said, "Sure." You know, she'd always said it. I thought she was kidding.
According to the case, Sonia gave Kim Kardashian her credit card to make a one-time purchase in 2004. However, Kim allegedly took note of the credit card's number and used that information to spend almost $63,000 at Dash in 2006 and almost $60,000 at Smooch in 2007. Sonia demanded the Kardashians pay her back for this outrageous purchase, but after refusing to do so, Sonia took them to court, seeking $825,000 in damages along with 10% interest per year. However, the lawyer representing Kim filed papers denying any wrongdoing whatsoever, and in 2009, Sonia requested the lawsuit be dismissed, suggesting the case was settled out of court. This isn't the only time Kim has refused to pay something. For example, Kris Jenner's church, the California Community Church, has been accused of being an elaborate way for her family and friends to forego paying their full share of taxes. The California Community Church was founded in 2009 and is led by Pastor Brad Johnson. Pastor Brad Johnson used to lead a 4,000-person congregation in Westlake Village, California, until he was caught cheating on his wife, leading them to get divorced in 2007. Following his divorce and being shunned by the church, Brad made 3 attempts before picking up the pieces and starting his new life by working at Starbucks. According to Radar Online, Kris Jenner tracked Brad down and convinced him to lead her newly founded church. This church encourages its members to donate 10% of their annual income to the church in the form of a tithe, something that can then be deducted from the donator's taxes. There's no real evidence of this, but some people allege that the 10% of, say, Kim Kardashian's income that she donates to the church is then washed and returned to her. And because churches in America are not required to report their earnings to the IRS, there wouldn't be a record of the church receiving or returning the 10% that was deducted from her taxes.
This church is clearly a tax write-off Bible. So in general, churches are huge tax loopholes. They're exempt from paying federal, state, and local taxes, and all their financial records are closed. And Kim has said in interviews that she gives 10% of her income to the church each year. If she makes $80 million a year, that's $8 million. And if the other sisters are doing that too, that's at least like $50 million in tithings. If your church made $50 million a year, would it look like this? Oh, and here's what I think really seals the deal. The girls don't worship there. They go to Hillsong, they used to go to Sunday service. Is it because this isn't really a church? Is this just a bank?
Pastor Brad Johnson has since remarried and moved into a $850,000 house in 2012, just 3 years after Kris tracked him down at a Starbucks and convinced him to work for her. While on the topic of Kim's income, much of it comes from her brand Skims, which is manufactured in Turkey by a company called Eurotex Textil Ticari, whom Bloomberg describes as being in the business of, quote, wholesale distribution of non-durable goods. Over the years, Kim has received praise for Skims, offering affordable and comfortable shapewear in a variety of different sizes. However, she's received criticism for manufacturing in Turkey, a country with a minimum wage of just $2.33 an hour. Some fans have even called her a hypocrite for operating a large factory in a country that doesn't recognize the Armenian genocide, something that Kim publicly criticized the American government of for years until Joe Biden became the first president to do so in 2021.
Kim Kardashian is getting political. She's blasting the Wall Street Journal over an ad questioning the Armenian genocide.
The US reality stars paid their respects at a memorial dedicated to the 1915 mass killings of Armenians.
More than 1.5 million men, women, and children were massacred by the hands of the Ottoman Turks.
However, more recently, Kim found herself in hot water again after a software developer who worked with her on her app, Kimoji, alleged that she left him financially ruined, leaving him to live in his car.
My name is David Liebenson, a once successful business owner, now sleeping in my car. I was a self-made entrepreneur who founded my own startups, one of which Kim Kardashian stole. Kimoji
launched in 2015 for $1.99 on the App Store and supposedly sold $1 million worth of copies in its first minute alone. According to software developer David Liebenson, he met with Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner throughout 2013 and 2014 to pitch and discuss the production of the app. Working only off of a verbal agreement, David received a call from Kim's legal team inquiring if he had already registered a trademark for Kimoji, and after telling them no, Kim's team offered to do it for him to speed up the process. Suddenly, the trademark gets approved, and David's name is nowhere to be seen, effectively stealing his work from him while claiming it as their own before he had a chance to. In 2019, David sued Kim Kardashian for $100 million, alleging they stole his app, to which Kim and her lawyers countersued him for $300 million, an amount that led David withdrawing his original lawsuit. However, even after he essentially gave up on receiving compensation for his work, Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner still pursued him, ordering he pay $400,000 in legal fees and financial compensation for what happened. This led to David's wife divorcing him, kicking him out of the house, and leaving him to live in his car while he works 2 different jobs. Just to pay the money, he continues to owe Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner. Kim's history of taking advantage of people had some fans raising eyebrows when she bragged live on the Today Show that her daughter scams people via a lemonade stand where she sells lemonade for $2 per cup, but after taking their money, claims not to have any change and keeps however much they handed her. However, Kim found herself in legal trouble once again in 2024 when the Donald Judd Foundation took notice of her counterfeit furniture. Supposedly, the foundation took notice of a 2022 YouTube video released by Kim where she takes you on a tour of her skincare brand Skin's office. During the tour, Kim praises the minimalist aesthetic of her office while highlighting a large table and chairs, saying, "These Donald Judd tables are really great and completely complement the chairs." But according to the Donald Judd Foundation, the table and chairs weren't authentic pieces and were instead a cheap imitation. According to the lawsuit, when Kardashian praised the knockoffs in the video, it gave the false impression that the Judd Foundation had lent its trademark and Judd's artistic reputation to Kardashian. The table in question retails for $90,000 and only 3 authentic copies have been sold in the last 15 years. The chairs retail for $9,000 each, and every chair sold is numbered, making it very easy for the foundation to confirm whether or not a piece of furniture claiming to be a Donald Judd is authentic or not. After Kim showcased her knockoff table and chairs, fans began speculating what else she has that isn't real, with some pointing towards purses on Kardashian Closet, a website the Kardashian family uses to sell their old clothes and accessories, for not coming with a certificate of authenticity, something you would expect to receive after purchasing a high-end bag. Kim's pattern of bringing people down to pull herself up dates back to at least 2007, when she got into an infamous fight on MySpace with Haley Duff. For context, back in 2004, both Paris Hilton and Haley Duff were recording music for their upcoming albums. Both of them had been pitched a song, and both of them wanted it. Before the producer was able to make a decision on who would get the song, Paris, in a bit of a power play, leaked her demo online, effectively ruining Haley's chance at getting to release the song. This song, ironically titled Screwed, would release in 2006 on Paris Hilton's debut album Paris. Because Kim's claim to fame at the time was being Paris Hilton's friend, Paris Hilton's enemies had to be her enemies too. This is why Haley initially reached out. It was to clear the air with Kim, as her problem was just with Paris. Haley writes, "I'm really tired of all this bad blood between us. The only reason we even know each other is because of Paris. And of course, she tries to stir things up because she doesn't like me and wants you to be on her side. I just wanted to say sorry for whatever I've said about you. I think you're a really nice girl and that we could end up being good friends. We should go out and get Cosmos together sometime." Kim initially responded positively by saying, "Thanks for the message. I'm glad you want to be friends. I'm really tired of all this and drama. I'm a grown woman and I've been feeling like a little kid again. I know I shouldn't have called you a stupid. Would you want to go see DJ AM Spin at Ledoux next week? Hope you write back soon. Don't listen to Paris, she's a stupid lesbian." Haley accepts her invitation, and then Kim replies by saying, "Yeah, I forgot. I don't hang out with horses, plus I'm busy." At the time, Kim was 27 years old and Haley was just 22. Following this altercation, Haley posted screenshots of the exchange on her blog.
When Rob was really little, he was like a baby. Courtney and I had to change his diaper once, and we would flick his to see like what would happen.
In 2016, Kanye debuted his song Famous at a Yeezy fashion show, a song that features the line, "I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that famous." The line itself is a reference to Kanye's 2009 MTV Video Award outburst, where he walked on stage while Taylor was accepting the award for Best Female Video and took the microphone out of her hands to tell everyone that Beyoncé deserved the award more than her. As clips of the song began to spread online, Kanye quickly started receiving backlash from Taylor Swift fans, saying that the line was incorrect and cruel. Kanye actually responded to this by claiming to have received permission from Taylor to use the line in the song. However, after Taylor won the Grammy for Album of the Year, she made a speech shading Kanye, saying, "I want to say to all the young women out there, there are going to be people along the way who will try to undercut your success or take credit for your accomplishments or your fame." Kim would insert herself into this drama by continuing to claim that Kanye had received permission to use this line, and saying that Taylor just wants the attention that comes from being a victim. Taylor's team would respond to this statement by saying, "Taylor cannot understand why Kanye and Kim won't just leave her alone." However, the next month, Kim would take to Snapchat and actually share a video she recorded of Kanye speaking to Taylor Swift on the phone, while Taylor can be heard saying, "It's like a compliment," in reference to the line. This clip quickly went viral, with the hashtag #KimExposedTaylorParty trending on Twitter, and many people leaving snake emojis in the comments of Taylor's Instagram posts. Kim would enjoy this attention over the next 3 years by occasionally shading Taylor via her Instagram stories. Taylor Swift would reflect on this time in a 2023 interview with Time magazine, where she explains that Kanye told her a different line than what made it into the song, conveniently foregoing the "I made that famous" part, while claiming that Kim had edited the footage to make Taylor look like a liar. Taylor says in the interview that "you have a fully manufactured frame job in an illegally recorded phone call which Kim Kardashian edited and then put out to say to everyone that I was a liar. That took me down psychologically to a place I've never been before. I moved to a foreign country. I didn't leave a rental house for a year. I was afraid to get phone calls. I pushed away most people in my life because I didn't trust anyone anymore. I went down really hard." Taylor would take shots at Kim for her involvement in the famous fiasco on her album The Tortured Poets Department, where she expresses how she can't forgive Kim for the way she made her feel, while flexing that while Kim was busy shading her on social media, Taylor was building something. After the song released, Kim responded by saying that she thought their issues were in the past and she doesn't know why Taylor's still bringing it up. In a 2017 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, during a trip to Dubai, Kim went off on a quote, ghetto girl she found staying in Scott Disick's hotel room.
Or do you think we should go bang down the bathroom door and see what's in there? You're just like such a tramp. Get your and security will escort you the out of here.
Kim has a meltdown as she confronts this woman, who fans speculate to be Real Housewives Larsa Pippen, repeatedly calling her a disgusting whore while ordering her personal security to remove her from Scott's room. Everyone but Kim looks confused and embarrassed, while Kim begins to yell at Scott and tell him that he just made her feel bad about Kourtney.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? The ghetto girl in your room.
For context, Scott Disick had been Kourtney's long-term boyfriend until she broke up with him 2 years prior in 2015. To make matters even more confusing, at the time, Kourtney had been in a relationship with another man for over a year, yet Kim still took the opportunity to throw her weight around and bully a woman on her television show. The ironic part being that Kim then calls Kanye to brag about how ghetto she just was for calling the woman ghetto.
I just caught a girl in Scott's room and went so ghetto on her. All of my friends, like, literally jaws dropped. Like, who is this ghetto girl? Like, Stephanie and I are, like, shaking.
All while claiming that she doesn't want to get involved.
Whatever, I just don't want to be involved. It's just not my style.
2 years later, in 2019, Kylie Jenner's best friend, 22-year-old Jordan Woods, would get caught kissing Khloe's baby daddy, Tristan Thompson. The entire Kar-Jenner family were furious at this revelation, and it quickly became a storyline on their television show. However, fans were left confused, as Tristan had been caught cheating on Khloe many times in their relationship over the years, sometimes even impregnating his mistress and continuing to cheat on Khloe while she herself was pregnant, leading to them separating and getting back together several times. Khloe and Tristan's relationship even started while Tristan already had a girlfriend who was currently pregnant with one of his children. Kim would say to her sisters on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians that they need to, quote, scare the living daylights out of her, which led to many fans attacking Jordan Woods on social media. While some harassed Jordan, others sympathized with her, wondering why the Kar-Jenner family, especially Kim, was so upset with her, as none of them seemed to care about Tristan, Khloe's baby daddy, the one who kissed Jordan, at all. Especially considering Kim's continuing support of Tristan, showing up to watch him from the sidelines at his basketball games after having cheated on Khloe, her sister, and impregnating other women during their relationship multiple times in the past. Kim would continue shading Jordan on her Instagram stories, leading to Jordan receiving more and more hate from fans. To give you an idea of 40-year-old Kim Kardashian's maturity level, Kim only dropped the public hate train on Jordan after her 22-year-old sister, Kylie Jenner, called her crying and begged her to stop, saying that Jordan is receiving death threats due to Kim's posts.
Like, she's just obviously really going through it. We just don't need to bully somebody, is all I'm saying.
Despite all this, Khloe would ultimately get back together with Tristan and even have another baby with him, until once again, Tristan got caught cheating on her. In 2013, Kanye West and Rhymefest launched a non-profit arts organization that targeted the youth living on the south side of Chicago. This organization was called Donda's House, and the goal was to provide programs that combine creative arts, such as music and fashion, with business development and marketing skills, something both Kanye and Rhymefest attribute to keeping them away from the gang life and street violence that is common within that area. However, 5 years later, in 2018, Rhymefest would take to Twitter and claim Kanye had abandoned the organization and that without his financial support, they wouldn't be able to continue. Following this, Rhymefest tweeted at Drake asking if he would like to fill Kanye's shoes. This didn't sit right with Kim, and once again, she inserted herself into a situation that didn't involve her and began to attack Rhymefest in a series of back-to-back tweets saying, "You haven't been right since you got kicked out of the studio in Hawaii wearing fake Yeezys. please. You're over-leveraging Kanye's name and asked Kanye to donate money to you, so stop with your fake community politics and lies. Truth is, you haven't been able to sustain the foundation. She also said, I saw you at our studio a few weeks ago, so why didn't you bring this up then? You were trying to get Kanye to listen to your subpar beats. You have the audacity to use Kanye's mom name to try to shed some negative light on Kanye. After insulting Rhymefest some more, she moved to threatening him by saying, you better believe I will make it my mission to take Donna's house from you and let my children run it the way it should be. At the time, Kim Kardashian's children were age 4, 2, and 4 months old. This was interpreted as Kim threatening to take Donna's house, the nonprofit helping underprivileged youth in Chicago, and ruining it just so Rhymefest couldn't have it. Following this, people from Chicago, including people who had taken advantage of Donna's house programs, began to beg Kim not to ruin Donna's house by taking it away from Rhymefest. However, several hours later, Donna's house released a statement saying that due to Kim's threat to take control of the organization and let her kids run it, they had decided to stop using the name Donna's house, saying, over the last 5 years, we have put our students and our community first. We'd like to thank all of our supporters, and we assure you that our hearts have always been with the city of Chicago, and we will continue to support youth in our future endeavors. We encourage Kim and Kanye to indeed pick up the baton of service. While the tweet claimed to have only stopped using the name Donna's house, the organization itself never reopened, leading to even more backlash from Chicago locals, with some claiming Kim's involvement on Twitter was the nail in the coffin. The following day, Kim would once again take to Twitter and tell her side of the story across several different tweets, claiming that due to Kanye going through some financial issues, he was unable to continue funding the organization. However, the tweet from Rhymefest that originally set Kim off was him just asking another successful black artist if they would like to fill the position Kanye once had. Kim, Kanye, and Rhymefest would later meet up to apologize and work things out together. However, Kim would later claim that she never tweeted any of that to begin with, and in fact, Kanye had actually stolen her phone and had been tweeting from her account. The problem with Kim Kardashian is that she doesn't know how to do anything other than take. Given a credit card to buy one item, steal the information and buy $120,000 worth of stuff for yourself. Approached by someone who made an app for you, steal the idea and then trademark it before they can. They sue you, so you intimidated them with a larger lawsuit, leading to them withdrawing their suit and trying to carry on with life. Sue them again for $500,000 so that they learn a lesson and force them to live in their car and spend the next 10 years of their life paying off your debt. Spend 3 years, 4 attempts, and millions of dollars hiring a private team of lawyers to help you pass the first year logs in, end your education there, and start calling yourself a lawyer anyways. People start criticizing the amount of pollution caused by your private jet. Reproduce with fabric. Someone's asking for a beneficiary for their nonprofit organization, trying to take away from them. Harry Potter's run. Proceeding to prison for using more water in a year than an entire family does in the world. They commitment for your brand, so you contact you. It's difficult to think of something Kim hasn't done to make money, and it's painful to see someone so insatiable. You would think there would be a bottom, a sunset, where she slows down and focuses her life on making pottery or something. But instead, she just takes and takes until there's nothing left to take, just to then move on to something or someone new to repeat the process. I don't think the Kardashian family can slow down because I don't believe they know how to. It's like they're climbing an endless staircase, and instead of stopping at some point to turn around and enjoy the view, they just keep climbing because they don't know how to do anything else. With celebrity fatigue growing and the wealth gap widening, perhaps we'll see a day where the Kar-Jenner family is forced to be real for once. It wouldn't even be that hard. If they started a new chapter where they dropped the PR voice and were just like, we like hanging out at home and smoking weed, lol, they would probably be seen in a new light, with people interested in seeing what they do next. But instead, we get these character arcs that feel more like a telenovela, where one season Kim's a supermodel and the next she's a lawyer fighting to get convicts off of death row, and somehow neither are believable.